Have you ever noticed how a woman's silence can cut deeper than her words? One day she's laughing at your jokes, replying instantly, giving you her full attention. And the next it's like you never existed. No texts, no calls, just silence. You stare at your phone wondering what changed. You replay every conversation in your mind, analyzing each word, each emoji, each moment you might have said something wrong. But here's the truth most men never realize. When a woman ignores you, she's testing you. She's not just disappearing, she's watching your reaction. Will you chase? Will you beg? Or will you rise above that silence and make her feel what she just lost? Because nothing stings more than a man who refuses to crumble. A man who doesn't chase validation but commands respect through his calmness. This is where your real power lies, not in reacting but in responding. In this video, you'll discover exactly how to make her feel the price of ignoring you. Not with anger, not with words, but with a presence so powerful she can't forget you, even in her silence. Point 1. The power of emotional control. When a woman ignores you, most men immediately lose their center. Their mind becomes a storm of questions. Did I say something wrong? Did she find someone else? Why isn't she replying? That emotional chaos is exactly what destroys attraction. Because the truth is simple. The one who controls his emotions controls the dynamic. Imagine this. Daniel from London is seeing a woman named Olivia. Things are going great, but suddenly she goes quiet. No texts, no replies. Daniel starts panicking, scrolling through their old messages, wondering what changed. His mind races, and before he knows it, he's typing another "Hey, did I do something wrong?" text. But that's exactly what kills the attraction, not the silence, but the reaction to it. See, women don't respect men who seek reassurance. They respect men who are reassurance. When you lose emotional control, you communicate insecurity. And insecurity is like a repellent to feminine energy. On the other hand, when you stay calm, detached, and unfazed, you project power. That's what Stoicism is all about. I'm being unmoved by what's outside of your control. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. When she ignores you, that's an outside event. You can't control her silence, but you can control your reaction to it. Instead of asking why she's silent, ask yourself why you're triggered. Because every time you let someone's absence shake your peace, you hand them power over you. Here's what emotionally intelligent men do. Instead, they pause. They breathe. They observe. Then they detach. They don't rush to fix, explain, or chase. They understand that silence can be a mirror reflecting your inner stability. The moment you stop reacting, you shift from a position of weakness to strength. In female psychology, this is powerful. A woman's emotional instinct is drawn to grounded energy. A man who doesn't get shaken by emotional turbulence. When you maintain emotional composure, you separate yourself from 95% of men who crumble under pressure. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability is attractive. So when she goes silent, let her. Don't double text. Don't scroll through her stories. Don't ask mutual friends what's going on. Instead, redirect that focus inward. Hit the gym. Learn something new. Master your craft. Let your silence echo confidence. Because emotional control isn't about pretending not to care. It's about caring for yourself. Enough not to lose your balance over someone else's behavior. That's the foundation of masculine strength. When you master emotional control, you no longer chase peace, you become peace. Point 2. The law of absence. Create space, create desire. There's a universal psychological truth. The more accessible you are, the less value you hold. Absence, when used wisely, becomes a magnet for attention. The reason is simple. Human beings crave what they can't easily have. This is why luxury brands in places like New York or London never flood. They're stores with excess stock. They create scarcity. They let anticipation build. And in relationships, the same law applies. Space creates value. Let's talk about Michael. He's been talking to a woman named Sarah for weeks. They text every day, talk late at night, share jokes, stories, emotions, until one day she stops replying. At first, he waits patiently. Then a few hours later, he sends another message. Nothing. A few days pass, and he begins to feel invisible. So he posts more, tries to look busy, maybe even texts her again just to check in. But what he doesn't realize is, he's giving away his power through availability. When someone ignores you, your silence should mirror theirs, not chase it. When she creates distance, you don't close the gap, you widen it. You disappear into your purpose. You create emotional space. That space makes her feel the loss of your presence. Women are emotional creatures driven by curiosity and feeling. When she no longer sees your attention flooding her notifications, her mind starts to wander. Why isn't he texting me anymore? Has he lost interest? Is he seeing someone else? And that curiosity grows into attraction. That's how the law of absence works. You create a vacuum that pulls her back in. But this law only works when your absence feels authentic. You can't fake it. If you're just pretending not to care while secretly stalking her profile, she'll feel it energetically. True absence comes from detachment, and from genuinely shifting your focus away from her and into your growth. Start living. Go to the gym. Go out with friends. Improve your style. Post success, not sadness. Let her see the glow up. Not through desperation, but through indifference. When you stop showing up in her notifications, you start showing up in her mind. Absence is not punishment. It's reflection. You're not trying to hurt her. You're allowing her to see what life feels like without your energy. And believe me, when your presence carried warmth, humor, and confidence, your absence will carry weight. So next time she ignores you, don't chase. Let the silence breathe. Because the more space you create, the more she'll feel the void you left behind. Point 3. Focus on self-improvement. The silent revenge. When she ignores you, you have two choices: break down or break through. Most men waste days, weeks, even months stuck in overthinking. They let rejection define their worth. But the Stoic man? He turns pain into fuel. He uses silence as motivation to become the version of himself she'll one day regret losing. This is the art of silent revenge, and not through anger or ego, but transformation. Think about James from Toronto. His girlfriend suddenly stopped responding, started needing space, and eventually ghosted him. At first he felt crushed, but instead of chasing her, he chased his potential. He joined the gym, started a business, began journaling, and focused on discipline. 3 months later, his glow-up was undeniable. Not just physically, but mentally. He wasn't the same needy man she left. And guess what? She reached out again saying, "You've changed." Of course he did. He evolved. That's the essence of masculine energy. Growth through adversity. When you improve after being ignored, you're telling the universe, "I won't crumble. I'll rise." You're converting pain into progress. In psychology, this is called transmutation, transforming emotional energy into purpose. Every hour you spend overthinking could be spent building your body, your finances, or your peace. Every tear becomes fuel. Every unanswered message becomes motivation. Women are deeply sensitive to energy. When you upgrade yourself, your vibration changes. You walk differently, talk differently, think differently. You stop seeking approval because your validation now comes from your own achievements. That energy shift is magnetic, not just to her, but to the world. Here's the paradox. When you stop trying to prove your worth to her, she starts noticing it, because nothing is more attractive than a man who is too focused on his goals to chase attention. The Stoics said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." That's your mission. Be the man she thought you could never become. Let your silence speak through your progress. Let your success be the echo that haunts her thoughts. So don't chase. Don't break your dignity. Transform your pain into a masterpiece. Because the best revenge isn't proving her wrong, it's proving yourself right. Point 4. Reclaim your energy. Stop feeding the ghost. When someone ignores you, your mind automatically seeks answers. You replay moments, scan through texts, and build imaginary explanations to fill the silence. But here's the truth. The more you try to find closure, the more you reopen your wounds. And the more energy you spend on someone who chose to disappear, the more power you hand over. In today's world, attention is the most valuable currency. When a woman ignores you and you keep texting, checking her social media, or asking mutual friends about her, you're literally spending your emotional currency on someone who's not reciprocating. That's not strength, that's self-abandonment. Take back your energy. Reclaim your focus. She ghosted you? Fine, let her. But you don't ghost yourself in the process. Most men lose themselves in the chase for answers, but the Stoic man, he withdraws his energy from the chaos and invests it where it multiplies, in himself. Think of it like this. When you stop feeding attention to her silence, you starve the dynamic of power. You become the calm center she can't shake. Imagine being so grounded that her absence doesn't even create a dent in your emotional stability. That kind of energy isn't built overnight. It's forged through awareness and discipline. When you pull your focus away, something powerful happens. You start noticing the areas of your life that were neglected while you were busy chasing her attention. Maybe it's your fitness, your finances, your passions. Every ounce of energy you once gave her can now be reinvested into becoming a stronger, more refined version of yourself. And here's the ironic twist. The moment you stop caring, she starts noticing. When your energy shifts from needing her to mastering yourself, she can feel that detachment even without a word. Women are deeply intuitive. They sense when your emotional current no longer flows toward them. That's when curiosity creeps in. Why isn't he reaching out? Has he moved on? Did he lose interest? But by that point, it doesn't matter, because you've already moved on mentally. That's true stoicism, being unaffected by what you cannot control. So stop feeding the ghost of what was. Don't chase closure. Create it by cutting emotional supply. Don't try to explain your worth. Embody it through silence and self-respect. Because when you reclaim your energy, you not only take back your power, you teach her the ultimate lesson. Ignoring a man who values himself doesn't make him weaker. It makes him untouchable. Let her feel the absence of your attention. Let her wonder where your energy went. Because once you stop feeding the ghost, your silence becomes the loudest thing she's ever heard. Point 5. The Stoic closure. Acceptance, not expectation. The final stage of power isn't revenge. It's not proving her wrong. It's acceptance, the most underrated form of emotional mastery. Because once you accept what happened, you free yourself from the mental prison of why. When a woman ignores you, your ego screams for an explanation. You want closure, justification, clarity. But most of the time, you'll never get it, and that's okay. The Stoics taught that suffering doesn't come from events, but from how we interpret them. Her silence is not the pain. Your resistance to that silence is. Acceptance is not weakness. It's strength disguised as peace. It's the moment you say, she did what she did, and I'll still be fine. You stop making her actions a reflection of your worth. Because let's be honest, people's behavior often says more about them than about you. Maybe she's confused. Maybe she's emotionally unavailable. Maybe she's testing. Whatever it is, and it's not your burden to decode. In psychology, acceptance breaks emotional dependency. When you accept that she ignored you and choose not to fight it, you signal to your subconscious that you're in control. You shift from victimhood to victory. That's what makes a man untouchable. His ability to walk away without bitterness. Let's take an example. Daniel from New York gets ghosted by a woman he genuinely liked. Instead of chasing her, he acknowledges the pain but doesn't drown in it. He journals, he works out, he spends time with friends, and slowly he starts to feel lighter. Why? Because he stopped fighting reality. He didn't need to know why she did it. He only needed to know what he'll do next. That's the beauty of Stoic closure. You don't need her explanation. You become your own resolution. You find peace not because she came back, but because you no longer care if she does. And ironically, that's when most women return, when they sense you've truly let go. But by then, something in you changes. You don't crave her validation anymore. You might smile if she texts, but deep down you've outgrown her emotional hold. That's real freedom. When you can look back at the pain and say, that was my teacher. So accept her silence with grace. Don't run from it. Learn from it. Every rejection is redirection. Every silence is guidance. She thought she hurt you, but in reality, she handed you the gift of awakening. The reminder that your peace, your purpose, and your power were never hers to control. Acceptance isn't the end. It's the beginning of your evolution. Conclusion. In the end, silence isn't your enemy. It's your weapon. When a woman ignores you, she expects weakness. But when you respond with calm strength, self-improvement, and quiet confidence, you flip the script. You show her that your worth was never dependent on her attention. It was always within you. Let her feel the emptiness her silence created. Let her see the man who turned pain into progress, rejection into rebirth. Because when you stop chasing, you start attracting. The universe rewards those who master emotional control. So don't send that text. Don't break your peace for validation. Instead, become so focused, so grounded, so powerful that your absence speaks louder than any message. That's the Stoic way. That's the path of self-respect. And that's how you make her feel the true price of ignoring a man who knows his value. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.